The topic of today's video is feeling different from others and feeling like you're always a stranger in every context you put yourself in. Sometimes when we think about feeling different from others, we may naturally start to analyze what are the differences in what we do. For example, the different type of activities and interests we have. Maybe you have unusual hobbies or music or film tastes and so on. But at least for me, this is only the outside aspect of the problem. The root cause of this feeling, feeling like a stranger, feeling different, has to do with interpersonal relationships and the difficulty feeling as part of a community. Feeling like you understand someone and that person understands yourself. One of the things I talked about in one of my last videos was the feeling of acting when you're talking with people. So the fact that you know what to say and you know how to engage in a conversation, you are able to steer the conversation, if you will. But one thing is being able to talk to someone, and another thing is feeling understood by that person. One of the strange things I find is I sometimes feel more at ease with inanimate objects or with animals more so than people. As soon as the human component starts to be present, I always feel like it's artificial. This doesn't mean I'm not able to enjoy time with someone else. I'm not able to feel a connection with someone else, but it's always temporary. Even with friends with which I share strong bonds, I always feel this urge to every once in a while, after like 5 to 6 years, to just move away and restart and build new connections. I never actually feel at home with people, and maybe that's not actually always true. Sometimes I feel like I understand the person I have in front of me, but I never feel like the understanding is bi-directional. So it's either I don't feel a connection with the other person, or maybe I feel like the other person doesn't actually know me quite well. I sort of maybe think that I'm always acting out when talking to people, even if that's not true. So every relationship I establish feels fake. But even that isn't necessarily true. It feels like you don't have an actual identity to share with people. As if you know the theory of what you should do, you know how to answer to a question, but you don't know how to emotionally resonate with people. Or this connection is always temporary, as if you always start every conversation as a new one, as if you're starting a new saved file. And people may say, well, you have to find the right people for you. And that may be true, but the only difference I found for myself is that with those people, it's easier for me to have, normal conversations and not fake interests in every conversation. But that doesn't mean that emotionally, on a deeper level, I feel a stronger connection with that person. Maybe cognitively, I may feel it as a different type of relationship. I may feel like something is a bit different from the usual conversation I have with other people. But emotionally speaking, I don't know if there's any type of actual difference with other relationships. Well, maybe that's a bit unfair because it's not actually true. But the fact is that even with those people, there is always something missing. And this is bigger than just having, differences in what music you like to listen to, what films you like to watch. Maybe when you're younger, you focus more on the differences in the activities you do, what you like, what you don't like, your hobbies and so on. But later on, you start to focus more on yourself as a person and noticing that, like, emotionally speaking, as a human being, you don't feel at home with no one. You may have these pockets of, let's say, strong and interesting conversations and feeling alive and feeling deeply connected, but those are short-lived and sometimes, as I said, aren't bi-directional. Like maybe sometimes this lack of feeling connected just makes it so that even in moments that don't seem to have any emotional and relational importance and value, for you, they can feel very strong and personal, even if for that person you're just having a normal conversation. And the hard thing, at least for me, is that even with people with which you feel like you share even that sort of hollow feeling inside of not being able to create deep relationships, even in those cases, you still have that hollow feeling inside you. You're still unable to maintain that feeling of fullness on an emotional level, as if you're satiated. Like whatever happens, you may have ups and downs, but you have a structure. You have someone to lean on to. You have an identity. You have something in a way. I thought I had more to say, but my brain isn't as focused this evening. I'm a bit tired. So I think I'm going to end it here. This is a shorter video. Let me know your thoughts and see you in the next video.